I was um, almost 3 months pregnant, and so I go into this OB appointment. It's just a routine, make sure that everything is progressing good, and I wasn't even supposed to get a sonogram at that point, and I think it was a total God thing that there was an ultrasound machine in the room of where my checkup was, because the doctor was like, why not? Let's look at the baby. My OB starts looking at the sonogram and starts looking over the ultrasound, and she notices that something doesn't look right. Well, it was 2020, year 2020, so COVID was strong, and everyone was in quarantine, and me and my husband at that point had been married for 5 years. We had two boys, two young boys. And when we first got married and found out we were pregnant for the very first time, I remember I wanted a girl so bad. I wanted one so bad that I knew that God was going to give me boys. Because what happens when, you make plans. And so this go around, finding out that we were pregnant for the third time, I, without a doubt, thought that we were having a boy. We had a little gender reveal, 6 feet apart, and we shot off this cannon, and it was pink powder, and oh my goodness, that was the best day of my life. Because I never thought that I would get a daughter. And so it was such a gift and such a exciting moment to finally have something that I've always wanted. And I kind of let pass to now, it's in fruition and it's happening, and it was so exciting. And I was like, I get to shop for a girl. I'm pretty sure I went shopping within the hour of finding out that she was a girl. I really thought that this was going to be the easiest pregnancy that I've ever had. I really thought that I wouldn't even need to go to the doctor's visits because I'm a veteran mom at this point. I know everything is going to be, I think everything is going to be fine. And I know that there's always risks, but it was a very distant reality. It wasn't something that I actually thought that I would face because I'm healthy. Everyone in my family's healthy, praise God. And there's no history of miscarriages in my family. So I kind of thought that I was invincible going into this appointment, and that it was just going to be another checked appointment for that month. My OB starts looking at the sonogram and starts looking over the ultrasound, and she notices that something doesn't look right. And she sees that there's a lot of fluid buildup behind the baby's neck, and that could mean a number of things, all of which are pretty serious. So she referred me out to a specialist that deals with more high-risk pregnancies. And there we got confirmation, or I shouldn't say I got confirmation because my husband still wasn't allowed in any of the appointments with me. I got confirmation that our daughter had Turner syndrome. And Turner syndrome is also known as monosomy X, which means that the baby only has one X chromosome instead of 2. And so with that comes a lot of risks, a lot of complications, and they asked if I wanted to terminate my pregnancy, and that was not something that we would even consider for a second, because I wanted my baby, no matter what, no matter if she was perfect and healthy and thriving, and no matter if she was going to struggle. I wanted my baby, no matter what. And that's just kind of, I think, something that, too, is she had purpose, even in her diagnosis, and even in her genetic makeup of not being completely normal. I knew that she was going to have purpose, and I wanted to make sure that God would use her purpose for His glory. I remember at this point, I was 4 months pregnant when I go in for another ultrasound where they're going to take more measurements, make sure that her fluid isn't rising, check her heart. There's a lot of different issues that come with this diagnosis, and so I needed to go in for frequent checkups, and this was one where they were going to do a sonogram of every part of her body. So it's a full-on anatomy scan, and so I'm 4 months pregnant, and the sonogram technician comes in and she starts taking measurements, and normally at this kind of point they ask, do you want to hear the heartbeat? And she didn't ask, and looking at this giant monitor right in front of me. They have it's like a giant plasma screen TV. And she's not moving at all. And you can see like live stream or real time exactly what the sonogram technician is doing right next to you. And baby girl's not moving. And so I get really, really tense, and I like get really, really scared. Just everything I feel like just kind of drains from me, and I have barely enough energy to ask, like, does she have a heartbeat? And the sonogram technician, she gets very quiet, and she says, the doctor's gonna go over that with you. And I knew exactly what that meant. And unfortunately, she had to continue taking her measurements of every single part of her body, every organ needed to be documented. And so I'm laying on this table, and it is just so loudly quiet. You know, it's so quiet. My ears are just ringing, and I wanted to scream. I just wanted to scream, like, get out, please get out. But I couldn't say anything. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. And all I could do was just watch this screen of my baby and all of her different organs, every little piece of her being documented, knowing she's not with me anymore. And it was completely devastating. I tried to prepare for that, but nothing can prepare you for that. And I wish my husband could have been with me, and I'm angry at COVID for, I feel like, robbing me of that moment with him. But that's okay. God was there. God was in that room. He never left me. And the doctor comes in, and he takes over the ultrasound. Finally, it felt like 20 minutes later. It was probably only like 2. He takes over the sonogram, and he confirms that the baby does not have a heartbeat anymore. And unfortunately, my body's not realizing that on its own. So I need to go into the hospital to be induced for delivery. So I call my husband. He's at work. He's a paramedic on the job, and I make sure, like, are you saving someone's life right now? Because I need your help. And I'd let him know what's going on, and without a second thought, he turns the ambulance around, and he goes back to base, and he heads home, where we pack up, getting ready to go to the hospital to deliver. And I remember the walk into the delivery room was really difficult, just because it was at Harris, and the ladies that are there are there to deliver their full-term babies. No one's walking in, not that I know of anyways, no one's walking in ready to deliver, you know, their baby that's not alive anymore. Everyone is contracting, and I remember walking through each room, and in one I hear that really loud heartbeat through a sonogram, the, you know, doo-dum, doo-dum, doo-dum. And it was a beautiful sound. And I was like, oh, I wish, you know, I craved that sound so badly. And so I didn't envy any of these women. It was just this like heartbreak for myself walking through into our room, where again it was just all so quiet, and God was still there. He was still with me, and I just remember being settled and laying in my the bed that I'm gonna deliver my daughter in, and I remember realizing in that moment, like, I really prayed for a miracle, and I really got one. And I didn't get the gift of miraculous physical healing in my daughter's body, but I got the gift of salvation. And how cool is it that my daughter was born straight into the hands of Jesus? You know, like, how cool is it that, and how like miraculous and amazing is it that the very first face that she saw was the face of Jesus? Oh, what a gift. You know, what a gift that is. And so I just really fell in love with Jesus in that hospital room. Like, I had always loved God, I loved Jesus, but I loved the man that was Jesus, who died for my sins and died for my daughter, so that way that I could see her again. Like, this was not the end. This was just see you later. Right now I'm upset. Right now I'm broken to my core. And God, I need you to meet me right where I'm at. And he does. And he is so sweet. And he did. He met me right where I was. And he brought on that peace that could only come from the Lord. That's supernatural. It makes no sense. You should not be fine right now. Kind of peace that I was able to rest in, which was, I think, a very beautiful, beautiful testament to who God is.